Good afternoon. My name is Brandon Wallace. I'm a degree-seeking candidate for Fort Hays State University, Master's in Administration Leadership at the building level. And this is my comprehensive examination portfolio review, and I'm excited to share with you everything that I've been working on to get to this point. I've been working on my master's degree since 2014 and have finally just completed enough hours to go ahead and apply for my degree. I'm from San Jose, California. I've been teaching this is my 6th year. I started my career in South Korea as an English as a foreign language teacher where I met my spouse. And also I have taught in both middle school and now currently in 5th grade for the past 3 years. And I work at a great district that is very high tech. In the next, this year I'd like to finish my master's degree, which is one of my professional goals. I'd also like to eventually enroll in an administrative services credential, which is mandatory to be an administrator in California. And finally, within the next 5 years, I'd like to start stepping into administration through a vice principal position. Personally, I'd like to own a home in the next couple of years. That's a big goal that I'm working on, and possibly adopt another pet. My philosophy of education is heavily influenced by Lao Tzu, or the Tao Te Ching, which is an ancient document. It's all about contrast and also about balance. So a lot of times, for example, the light with the dark, the heavy versus light, soft versus rough. And it's just about, the reason I love it is because it's all about balance. And without the good in the world, there wouldn't be the bad. And I just find the document inspiring, and it really speaks to the type of leader that I would like to be. One of the quotes is, "Nothing in all beneath heaven is so soft and weak as water, and yet for conquering the hard and strong, nothing succeeds like water." And so even down to raising a student as raising a child in this world, or having students grow as learners, it takes a lot, and it takes all of us together, each individual water droplet forming together as a tsunami to push that kid to get where they want to be. Really, the biggest thing is I believe in getting students where they want to go, and trying to do the things that I can do to help them get where they want to be. If that's college, wonderful. I know a lot about that. If it's they want to be a CEO one day, or they want to own their own body repair shop, or they want to, be an author, I will try and give them the tools to get them where they want to be. Now, looking at my program of study, like I said, I've been working on my program since 2014 and finished a year ago in 2016, spring, but just recently finally got enough of the hours through a summer school position that I had where I ran a summer school program, which I'm going to get into in a couple minutes. But over here you can see all of my coursework history. And I ended with school law and supervision and evaluation of personnel. I was very excited to take that class just because I'm like, wait, I'm going to evaluate people one day? Maybe, but it's really, it will be low key in the sense that it's all about improvement. And yeah, you can see my more detailed coursework history here. Here's my most updated resume. Most recently, I actually moved to school districts this year to be closer to my current home, as well as work in a more high-tech area. My current school district has Apple TV, the newest iPads. Students just have a lot of technology. It's one-to-one Chromebooks. I have a class set iPads. It helps me just instill more technology in the classroom. And I was fortunate enough this summer, like I mentioned, to be a site lead administrator and finally dip my feet into administration. I ran a middle school summer school program. It was extended day as well, so it was from 7:30 in the morning, or 7:30 is when I'd get there, all the way till 3 p.m. in the afternoon. I'm GLAD certified, so I took my guided language acquisition design courses last year, and something I still use today. especially helps with my English language learners, but it has a lot of strategies embedded in there that are good for all learners, such as having signal words, breaking word parts down, cooperative strip paragraph. There's a lot of different things in there that I still use in the classroom. So you can see more of my up-to-date information here about where I have worked. I'm going to go to my annotated bibliography. Throughout my coursework at Fort Hays State University, I have read a plethora of books, different articles especially. They really liked all my coursework. I noticed all the professors liked us to read articles, to examine them, pick and choose from them, to evaluate how did those work in our districts. Did they work in our districts at all? Would they? Kind of just getting us to think about everything that we need to as educators and future administrators. One of my most favorite ones I wanted to talk about was this Edutopia article I recently read, actually, called Building a Community of Learners and Citizens. And I really like this one because no matter what a student's socioeconomic background is, there are certain things you can instill throughout the day as an educator, as an administrator, to help your students, such as having a morning meeting, doing station rotations, which is something I've implemented in math in my own classroom this year. So I'm a fifth grade teacher. It's my third year teaching fifth. And I found my students love it. It gives students variety. Student knows what they can expect. And if they don't like one of the activities, they know that they'll have something else later that hopefully they will like. So just gives a lot of variety in the classroom. And then talking about controversial or important and pertinent topics to your students' lives. And I found even this year I'm trying more to ask them, what things are they interested in? What things do they want to know about? One of my most favorite things here also that I learned about in the program, well, there's two. One of them was a book called Curriculum 21 by Jacobs. I even went and watched her TED Talk after I read this book. She basically started her talk with, throw away the pencils, throw away your paper. It is not preparing your students for where they are right this second. Like, we are so behind and our methods are so outdated and antiquated that even some of the practices in the classroom now do not prepare them for even today. It's as if we're living in the past, literally. And so I took this book to heart, and I've really tried to figure out ways for my students to very organically and yet very thoughtfully interact with technology and use it as a tool to produce the learning that we're looking for. And finally, the other one that I loved was Understand by Design, UBD. I had heard of it in my teaching program, but when I actually read more about it in my master's program, it just really showed me the importance of having the end goal in sight. And this is something that I will reference when I'm an administrator helping teachers as well, is what do you want your students to learn? Where do you see them going? Focus on that specific goal first and backwards plan it. Like, start with what you want them to do, and then focus on the steps that are going to get your students there, as well as the conceptual misunderstandings. There's a whole bunch of other articles here. However, I filmed another video and I ran out of time, so I am going to go ahead and move on to my activities. At the district level, last year, I was on the Service Learning Task Force in the Morgan Hill Unified School District where I was working. I was in charge, myself and a group of other teachers. We would meet twice per quarter and talk about creating some lesson plans and implementing service learning throughout our whole district. And it was a large, unified school district. I also gave a presentation at the Curriculum Council and created this here, talking about what we were doing, what we were working on, and how we could actually implement it at the elementary level first, but also, middle school and high school. One of the coolest things I did that really showed me administration was going to my first expulsion hearing when I worked for a charter school. It was eye-opening, and it was very moving to hear from a student, who was on the verge of never coming back to his high school. But as a team, we decided that he would get another shot, and just creating a plan for him to succeed. At the elementary level, there are a number of activities as well. Um, I was one of the report card site leads last year, and I went to a training and helped other teachers set up their grade books because we moved towards standard-based grades that matched our curriculum. I was part of the first ever instructional rounds team at my elementary school, and so we went into the other classrooms. We were looking at engagement in the classroom. I also implemented FMP at my school for fifth grade last year and documented the results and helped upper grade teachers, like fourth and fifth grade teachers especially, who had never done FMP, help them implement it in their classroom as well. I started a reading flash mob at one of my schools, and you can see the video here. And the idea here was just to get kids excited about reading, and I think it was a great way to start off the year and just get them going. So I got someone from the district office to come and film for us, and it was just a really fun time. And then another thing that a principal might do that I did this year is have a catch-up session with my parents. I did this a month before conferences, which start next week, and it gave me a chance to meet with the parents. About 12 parents actually showed up, so it was quite a few, and it was a good chance for us to catch up on what had been happening in the classroom. At the secondary level, this is really where I got the meat and bulk of my hours this past summer when I led a summer school program. I did everything from create an evacuation plan, schedule emergency drills, do supervision, help manage students, distribute resources. So everything in the ISLLC standards I had practice with firsthand over the summer. This is the team drive that I made for all of my teachers. I tried to send this to them at least a month in advance or 3 weeks in advance before we started our program, so that just kind of get them prepared. I made a bell schedule. I made a guidelines form that they needed to read as well, letting them know what I expected in the program. I gave the bathroom passes. Had a sign-out sheet for the last day of the program, and even planned a talent show and award ceremony after I polled the teachers first to see if it's something they wanted, and came up with the final enrollment list and made sure to check in daily with students who had not attended. There was so much that I did in this program. So, I was there all day, 7:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. or longer some days. We took our whole summer school to a baseball game, the San Jose Giants. For some of these kids, it was the first time they'd ever been to a baseball game in their own city, like literally down the street from where our program was. So it was great to do that. I kept track of attendance. I did not have a secretary, so I had to do this all myself. I also talked with the director of curriculum and administration who hired me and came up with the idea. Actually, from my program, I knew about perspective data, and my program was also a STEM program in the afternoon. So we polled the students before and after the program about their opinion and their own perspectives on the program. You can see in more detail the activity log form, where I logged all my hours as well as put all the descriptions of the activities. And finally, I just met with my administrator this past Monday, had him sign the form. His name is Eric Scherer, and he's the principal of my elementary school. And finally, for my reflection, what can I say about this program? It just taught me so much. It showed me that being an administrator is more than a job or a position. It is about asking questions. It is about implementing standards. And I think this part right here is really what I wanted to end with. A building level leader must not simply be position one can step into, but rather it's a lifelong series of experiences, need for leadership, and expected practices to artfully engage all stakeholders of a learning community. I just feel like being a building level administrator is a continuous process. I hope one day to get there. And I want to thank you for watching my portfolio. Thank you.